In this video lesson, we will discuss about projects. At the end of this lesson, we will have in-depth understanding of what is a project and what is not a project. Because many aspirants, they come for the project management training, and during the training they realize that they are not working in projects, but they are working in operations. So this video will give you an in-depth understanding of what is a project and what is the success criteria of a project, what are the constraints of a project. All these things we'll be discussing in this particular video. So the learning objective: understand the characteristics of projects and learn to differentiate between projects from other work, and understand the success criteria of projects, including time, cost, scope, and the value part of it. Now, the first characteristic of a project is the start date and end date of a project. So every project has a fixed start date and end dates. And once the end date is over, the team gets dispersed. So projects are temporary in nature. Every project has a start date and end date. And upon completion of the project, the team gets dispersed. Hence, we say that the projects are temporary in nature. And projects deliver unique outputs. So in this case, the diagram, so we have these inputs coming in, like the stakeholder needs, the requirements from the stakeholders, the resources required to execute the project, and the budget required to execute the project successfully. All this comes as an input to the project, and the project team works on it, and execution starts, monitoring and controlling happens, formal closure happens, and before all these things, the detailed plans happen. And at the end of the project, a unique output comes out of the project. It could be in the form of a new building or a new bridge or a new website or a new technology project like a new application, new data center, whatever. And it could be even a unique service. Uh, it could be launching a new healthcare program, etc. So projects deliver unique outputs. And what are the other variants of it? And we have operations. Operations deliver standard output. For example, construction of a factory is a project because it has the start date, it has the end date, and it delivers the unique product, which is the factory. And at the end of the end date or end of completion, the team gets dispersed. But once the factory is completed, that will get transferred or handed over to the operations team, and they will start running the factory shift after shift, producing the same standard item shift after shift. Hence, it becomes a operation. Operations are ongoing in nature, whereas projects are temporary in nature. Projects deliver unique products or services as an output, whereas operations produces standard output shift after shift. To substantiate this point once again, maybe designing a new car is a project, whereas manufacturing that car shift after shift, that becomes a operation. Again, projects and operations have some similarities as well. For operations also, they have targets. Within this 8 hours or this many units must be produced, etc. So they also have targets and they also have budgets. But the fundamental difference is projects deliver unique products and services, whereas operations produces standard products and services. I hope you understood the difference between projects and operations. Then another major characteristics of projects is the progressive elaboration nature of the project. That means everything starts as an idea. So when I come out with a project idea, I have only very less information about the project. For example, when we started the construction of our house, we had very less details about the house. We used to always say we need maybe 2 or 3 bedrooms and very high level. It is basically the concept. Very early, we only know the concept. We don't have clarity. Then when the project moves on to planning phase, we gain, then there we have to do the detailed requirements collection. Then we have to do the scope definition, then decomposing the scope into a work breakdown structure, and then WBS dictionaries. We'll be discussing all these things as we progress. But there we gain more details about the project scope and maybe cost also, because once the scope gets clearer, we get more insight into the cost factor and the time factor also. Then afterwards, then we move on to detailed planning like scheduling, etc. Then at that time, we gain more insight about the project. And when the project gets executed, on site, we gain more details when the real work happens. So the scope of the project gets progressively elaborated. That is one characteristic of a project. Whereas in operations, uh, there is no progressive elaboration. You manufacture that standard product shift after shift as per the specification. With 100% clarity in the specification only, we start manufacturing. Whereas in projects, the scope gets elaborated further and further and further as the project progresses. Then another characteristics of the project is the triple constraints of a project. So projects are constrained by time, cost, and scope. When we say time, before the start of a project itself, there will be requirements like this project must get over by so and so date. So that is a constraint. And scope, okay, by this time, this scope must be completed or met. That is the scope based constraint. Then definitely for every project we'll have budget constraints as well. The owner is going to tell us like this project should get over within this budget. So we have these triple constraints of time, cost, and scope. As project managers, we should manage projects uh, within these constraints, and we call it as the triple constraints of a project. So projects are constrained by the triple constraints of time, cost, and scope. Then the project success criteria. So till a couple of years back, the success criteria of project was the triple constraints itself. That means if a project gets over on time, within budget, and met the scope, we used to say that that project is successful. But in the last project management body of knowledge, the previous version of the project management body of knowledge, PMI redefined the success criteria of projects. So there he said, the PMI states that a project is successful only if it is completed on time within budget, and met the scope. It doesn't stop there. And the value delivery. That means the owner starts the project for certain purposes or intent. He is expecting value from the project. And if that value is not delivered, the project is a failure. So the revised success criteria is time, cost, scope, and the value delivery. So before the start of the project itself, one must know the business case of the project. That means, why are we doing this project? And one must define the success criteria of the project also. It must be documented so that the project manager can professionally and confidently manage the resources towards that success criteria. If the success criteria is not defined, then we are in trouble as project managers. PMI occasionally they ask this question like, when does a project fail? At the beginning or during execution or at the end? The real answer is project fail at the beginning. If you start a project which doesn't have a business case at all, halfway through the stakeholders will realize that the project doesn't have a business case and they lose interest and they'll stop coming for the meeting. The fundamental reason could be by that time people realize that it doesn't have a business case. So the project will be doomed. And unnecessarily, the responsibility of failure will fall on to the project manager. So before starting any project, as a project manager or a project lead, you have every reason to know the business case or the project. You can ask the sponsor, why are we doing this project? How much money are we investing into it? And what are the benefits you are expecting out of this project? And if there is clarity on these things, half the work is done. And that is the project manager's job. And the key points discussed here, we discussed about the characteristics of the project. We said projects are temporary in nature. Every project has a start date and end date. And upon completion of the project, the team gets dispersed. And we discussed about the progressive elaboration nature of the project. That means when we start a project, we have very less information about the project. And as we progress, we gain more and more insight about the project. The progressive elaboration nature we discussed, the temporary nature we discussed, and projects deliver unique products or services as an output. We discussed that as well. We discussed the difference between projects and operations. Projects are managed by project managers, whereas operations are managed by operations managers. Sometimes your project can be part of a larger program, and programs are managed by program managers. So all those aspects we'll discuss in the upcoming lessons. And we also discussed about the success criteria of the project. Projects are considered as successful if they are completed on time, within budget, met the scope, and delivered the intended value for which the project was initiated in the first place. I think this makes it very, very clear to you. The definition of the project must be very clear to you by now. So thank you very much for watching this video. And for more information about the topics discussed in the video, we have provided the link to the corresponding PM Distill page at the description of the video. And if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do subscribe so that you will not miss out on any of the videos or the updates we are providing there. And this particular video is recorded as part of the PM Essentials program. And if you want to seriously participate in the PM Essentials program, the details are provided in the programs page. Again, the link to the program page, PM Essentials program, that is also provided at the description of this video. Thank you very much.